Sony have finally unveiled the PlayStation 5 and we finally know what it looks like, and quite honestly, I'm a little underwhelmed. Let me tell you why. But remember, if you could like and subscribe, that would be much appreciated. Thanks guys. So here we have it, the PlayStation 5. This is what it looks like. It's not personally what I would classify as pretty or attractive, but it's certainly different. If Sony were going for something a little bit different, something a bit more out there, they have certainly accomplished that. It's something that certainly draws your attention. I don't personally think it looks as nice as the Xbox Series X. I like the more kind of modern design compared to the likes of the previous generation. The PlayStation 4 was a lot more cube sized. The kind of look and feel of it, very matte, very modern, and I think this has went the complete opposite way about. To me, this looks more of a toy rather than, you know, a very powerful video game console. And I like the fact that they've done it in two different versions. So we've got the standard PlayStation 5 on the left here, and we've got the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition on the right. And the main difference between the two of them is the disk drive is completely gone. And I can see for both sides that there's an argument to be had there. So, I mean, if you do have the disk drive, it's certainly beneficial if you are someone that still has physical media. You still buy Blu-rays, you like to watch them, collect them. And it's the same when it comes to games on discs more than anything. Not so much in the UK. We're quite good for having some form of kind of very decent infrastructure for broadband, and most of our broadband for most providers is pretty much unlimited for your downloads. In different countries and regions, America specifically, they do get kind of capped on a lot of the data plans and things like that for their internet, so I can see where the disk drive would certainly come in handy for that, installing a really huge game and not touching any of the data cap bar their updates. Certainly beneficial. I can also see with the digital edition, people like myself who have, you know, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, they have all these kind of 4K streaming content. Don't get me wrong, it will never ever be as good, and well, it might be, but it's not at the moment going to be as good as having the actual Blu-ray itself. Just the way the internet is for your connection, compression, the actual original file, there's a lot of things that come into account with it. But I can certainly see the argument for both, and I like the fact that they're at least giving people the option. I know we haven't had any prices as of yet. Seen some of the rumours saying that it's going to be around about £600, leaked from a couple of different places. Whether that's true or not, everyone's just going to have to wait and see, unfortunately. The design of the actual console matches the kind of colour scheme of the controllers here, and quite honestly, when they showed that off originally, I was again on the fence. They've kind of grown on me. I think the controllers actually look quite attractive, so I'm wondering if the console will do that over time. We'll wait and see. But there's quite a few things that was announced. For the actual console itself, it does actually look a lot better in black. I've noticed that a couple of places have put out a couple of kind of renders. D-Brand on Twitter, they have a lovely kind of black skin that goes on it, and it changes the kind of whole look and dynamic of the console. I think that would be something that would be good from doing down the line, some sort of limited edition one, you know, a Spider-Man one, or whichever the case may be, Gran Turismo, something along those lines. I'm sure we'll see it in multiple different colours, and they'll do some sort of slim version eventually as well. But moving down the page here, it goes on about the console having no limits. It just goes in to talk about just a little bit of the kind of new internals for it. We know a couple of things so far. We've seen some, you know, leaked details, and they've confirmed that it's going to be about 825 gigabytes on that really fast internal storage. They've confirmed that PlayStation 4 games, at least the kind of top 100 games at launch, will be backwards compatible through GPU emulation. They've talked about custom 3D audio. They've spoke about the CPU that's in it, the GPU that's in it, how it's an 8-core CPU, and it's, I think it was like 10.28 teraflops for the GPU, which is absolutely insane. You'd have to pay at least kind of above £300 in general on the PC to buy a graphics card that outputs that much kind of teraflops in the form of power. Certainly comparable but not comparable. It's not quite as black and white when you're comparing it against the PC. And as you can see here, they're showing off the console just from the side so you can get a kind of better view of the angle, and it can stand either vertically or horizontally, so that's a good point. They've got their own accessories that come with it. I love the fact they've got a media remote. I love the fact, I remember the Xbox originally had that for the 360, and I used it all the time. I went through a stage of just not playing games but watching stuff constantly on it, and I like the fact that it's a really small remote. I remember the PlayStation used to have one for, I think it was a PlayStation 3 or 4, and it was this huge remote and it was just godly. As for the camera, it does look a little bit like the Xbox Kinect for the Xbox One, but just kind of shrunk down and I kind of clamp it over the top of it, but nonetheless I'm sure it performs really well and it'll have a good output and a good resolution, frame rate and so forth. So as for the games that were announced for it, they showed off quite a few. I mean, we had the Spider-Man Miles Morales, Horizon Forbidden West. These things all looked really amazing, and if the graphics are anywhere close to what the demos were showing, then it'll be a really, really good immersive kind of gaming experience. We had Ratchet & Clank, Gran Turismo, a couple of new games as well, some that didn't really tailor to myself, such as the likes of Sackboy and so forth, but we saw a new Hitman, we saw Demon's Souls, what else did we saw? We saw Ghostwire, kind of based in Tokyo, that was that's really weird. It reminded me a little bit of Murdered Soul Suspect a little bit, kind of running about killing the kind of ghosts or ghouls, whichever the case may be. That looked really interesting. I'm interested in seeing how that one turns out. And as you can see here, there's just a list of some of the games that were shown off. Oddworld, Soulstorm, Abe is still in those tunnels. He is still in those tunnels. I wonder if they kept the option for him to fart. That was funny in the original game. Heighten your senses with the DualSense wireless controller. These things actually look pretty good. The fact that you've got the adaptive triggers and the adaptive haptic feedback, yeah, I reckon that could be quite cool, especially when you're playing a game and you're getting into it and you're feeling what's happening on the screen, and, you know, the kind of vibrations from the bullets, the castling around the corner, whichever the case may be, just to give you that kind of immersion into the game. So that'd be good as well. I think it's mainly the look that's putting me off the console. I'm not sold on it. I don't think that is going to look good next to TV. I don't think it's going to look good in the TV unit. I do think the Xbox kind of pulls ahead in that respect, regardless of which skin you put on this thing, especially if it is going to be a bit bigger. I personally prefer the PC regardless anyway. All consoles, I've usually just bought them at the end of the life kind of cycle, bought all the exclusive games I want to buy, played them, got rid of them, and went back to the PC. If this thing is about £600 though, you probably can't build a PC that'll kind of perform the exact same as that. So it is probably best bang for buck if it's just gaming you're looking to do. Obviously you can do a much larger variety on the PC. I thought it was quite funny reading the comments in some of the videos that have been released so far with kind of PlayStation 5, and it's like they're touting all these new technologies, and then one of the first kind of questions is always, what about backwards compatibility? And it's like, are you really wanting to buy a PlayStation 5 to play your PlayStation 4 games, play your PlayStation 3 games? Yes, it would be lovely, but it's not something that ever crosses my mind when I buy a brand new console, because I'm not going to buy a PlayStation 5 to play Final Fantasy 7 Original. It's just not going to happen. If you're looking to do that, just buy a PC. You can play games for all the way back to whenever. That's not an issue. That's its main selling point. That as well as you can do much more things on it. But let me know what you guys think. Put in the comments, will you be buying a PlayStation 5? Will you be buying a PC? Will you be upgrading a PC? Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching.